Good morning. My name is Kevin Law. I'm the chair of the Board of Directors of Empire State Development, and I now call to order the meeting of the directors of the New York State Urban Development Corporation doing business as Empire State Development for Thursday, June 22nd, 2023. I'd like to, as we always do, go around the table and introduce ourselves. I'll start here with my left with Hope.
Hope Knight, President CEO, Empire State Development.
Hilda Rosario, Escher, Director.
Benson Martin, Designee for the Department of Financial Services.
Felisa Hawkeiser, Director of Compliance, ESD.
Ray Orlando, Chief Financial Officer.
Kathleen Mize, Deputy Chief Financial Officer, Empire State Development.
Matt Gray, Treasurer.
Down here.
Joe Tazwell, New York City Regional Director, ESD.
Jason Clark, ESD and Division of Minority and Women Business Development.
Liz Luskin, EVP, Small Business and Technology Development, Empire State Development.
Noah Raymond, Chief of Staff, Hope Knight.
Rob Simpson, Center State CEO, Syracuse.
Michael Rosen, Director.
Great. Well, welcome everybody, and I will recognize we have a quorum for the meeting, and thanks to all the staff members here with us and on the screen, and the staff who are joining with us here today. I'd like to remind staff members joining us remotely to please mute your audio until you are ready to speak or we call upon you to begin. The public was given an opportunity to both attend and to submit comments to the board for any items on the agenda. There's nobody from the public here today, and we did not receive any public comments on the agenda items before us today. As always, the directors received all the written materials in advance of today's meeting, had a chance to review them, and of course could ask questions on any items to staff during the meeting today. At the appropriate time, board members, if they need to, can recuse themselves on any matters. Both Rob Simpson and myself will be recusing ourselves on two separate items later in the agenda. There is no minutes for us to approve. The May minutes are not ready yet. They'll be ready for us at the next meeting, and we'll approve them in July. And thus we could get right to our agenda, and I'm going to hand it over to Hope Knight, our CEO, for her president's report.
Thank you, Kevin, and good morning, directors. I hope you're all well and enjoying the start to summer. Like many New York families do this time of the year, ESD has been road tripping across our great state. Last Friday, I joined Governor Hochul in the North Country for a ribbon cutting of the lodge at Scoot Lake. This is a $25 million project transformed a century-old property into a truly incredible Adirondack getaway with accommodations ranging from rooms and suites to cabins and glamping sites. The project was supported by more than $4 million through the region's Upstate Revitalization Initiative and aligns with the region's priority of developing new and high-quality lodging. I was also in the Hudson Valley to visit the Chester Agriculture Center in Orange County. This 200-acre farm leases land in subsections to local farm operators with a focus on people of color, women, and LGBTQ and Latinx communities, which are historically underserved in the farming industry. ESD is supporting its expansion with a $300,000 grant and a more than $1 million loan through the State Small Business Credit Initiative, or the SSBCI, which is funded through the American Rescue Plan Act. And just this week, I joined the Connect Call team in Harlem for the final Internet and Digital Equity Listening Session. The team has been hosting these events across all 10 regions to discuss barriers to Internet access and resources and opportunities available to help close the gap. The Connect All team will now use this data in the development of New York State's first ever statewide digital equity plan, which will be submitted to the federal government before the end of this year, and will help secure federal funding to establish a digital equity grant program. Congratulations to Josh Breitbart and the entire Connect All team for their hard work to make these sessions a success. Our Global New York team also hit the road this month, visiting 7 regions for its export promotion tour. Each stop featured representatives from Global New York's foreign offices, including Canada, the Caribbean, Mexico, Israel, Europe, Africa, and Asia. I was at the New York event, and it was very well attended. I think you were in Long Island.
Yeah, I kicked off the Long Island
Yes.
event. Yeah, I was very impressed. People from all over the world were there, so it was
Yes.
pretty cool.
All told, more than 400 people joined these sessions to learn more about expanding their company's presence in the global marketplace. And earlier this week, I joined our MWBE team in Brooklyn for the first regional Expo Series event. The expos help to connect the state's MWBEs with New York agencies and authorities, expert resources, and tools to access state contracting opportunities. A second is scheduled for Syracuse on June 28th and in Buffalo on July 13th, and all of these events are free. You just heard from or met Jason Clark, and I'm proud to announce that he's joined ESD as our new Executive Vice President of the MWBE Division. Jason is a Southeast Queen native who brings a wealth of experience in expanding opportunities for New Yorkers. Most recently, he served as Executive Director of Tech NYC, where he prioritized reducing the digital divide and building an ecosystem for tech that works for all New Yorkers. He also served as a lawyer in private practice and in the state Attorney General's Harlem Regional Office. Jason started at the beginning of the month and has hit the ground running. I look forward to working together to help MWBEs grow, succeed, and thrive.
Welcome, Jason.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
I also want to extend a very special thanks to Ray Orlando and Ray Salabarios for supporting the division over these past few months, and to the MWBE team for their hard work. And finally, with a very heavy heart, it is with deep sorrow that I relay the passing of a cherished ESD colleague, Bryant Towns. Bryant joined ESD in 2017 and was a valued member of the IT department, where he focused on developing and maintaining enterprise software applications, including our PeopleSoft system. Bryant was at work on Tuesday when he experienced a medical event. He was taken to the hospital and sadly passed away. Bryant was a committed colleague and a friend to many at ESD. His loss is devastating, especially to those with whom he closely worked. We've been in touch with Bryant's family, and we grieve with them. We will share information about the services for Bryant as we receive them. I do want to acknowledge our fellow ESD colleagues who attended to Bryant's immediate care and aided in our communications with his family. Our HR team has made services available to anyone at ESD who may need some support. I'd like to close with a moment of silence to honor Bryant and place our thoughts with his family and loved ones as we mourn this loss. Thank you.
Thank you, Hope, and God bless Brian's family. And thank you for sharing your report, Hope. Very sad ending, but not surprising that staff was there to help out. You know, we have a great team here, and so thanks for sharing that information. Okay, anybody have any questions for Hope on her president's report? All right, hearing none, we'll continue with the agenda. Felicia Hockheiser, our Director of Compliance, has a couple of items for us to approve today. Felicia?
Good morning, Chair Law, and good morning, Directors. In 1979, the New York State Urban Development Corporation, doing business as Empire State Development, created an audit committee as a non-voting committee of its directors charged with meeting from time to time with the corporation's independent auditors and with the Director of Internal Audit to discuss the corporation's audit procedures. Now known as the Audit and Budget Committee, the committee is comprised of 4 directors and currently has 1 vacancy. The committee includes Hope Knight, Commissioner of New York State Department of Economic Development, Adrian Harris, Superintendent of the New York State Department of Financial Services, and Michael Rosen. It is recommended that the position of Chair of the Corporation be appointed as an ex officio member of the Audit and Budget Committee. In this way, future changes in the individual holding the board position will not result in the need for additional board actions simply to substitute individuals.
Very good. So I'll become an ex officio. Does that mean I get to vote no against myself?
Yes, there's no vote, yes.
No, so we'll do that. Hilda will make that motion.
I make the
And
motion.
Rob is seconding it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Any other items, Felicia?
No, the next item is going to be handled by Ed Hamilton.
Okay, and Ed Hamilton, he's our Chief Administrative Officer, and he has an item for us to act on as well.
Good morning to the board and to everybody. Hope already mentioned in her president's remarks that Mr. Jason Clark is joining ESD as the Executive Vice President for Minority and Women Business Development. She shared some of his background, and there's more in the materials. But basically, the directors are requested to appoint Mr. Clark to the position and to be effective June 1st, 2023. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Ed. Jason, want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself that Hope hasn't mentioned already, so the board gets to know you a little better?
Yeah, sure. Happy to. So, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. I know a lot about the work that ESD has done for a long time, especially in regards to creating economic development opportunities and doing so in an inclusive way. I guess in regards to myself, so as Hope had mentioned, I had previously served as Executive Director of Tech NYC, which is a nonprofit organization aimed at building a vibrant and inclusive tech ecosystem here in New York City. Prior to that, I had spent some time working as a civil litigation partner at Hamilton Clark, which is a Black-owned litigation boutique. So I know some of the issues that MWB firms are likely going through as they're trying to navigate and build their businesses. Prior to that, I had spent time in two dual roles, one as president of the Metropolitan Black Bar Association, largest association of Black attorneys here in New York, where we did a lot to be able to make sure we're creating opportunities for minority businesses here in New York. And I served as first deputy in the Harlem office of our New York State Attorney General's office, where we brought lawsuits on behalf of folks who are the victims of economic fraud, especially in disadvantaged communities such as Harlem and the Bronx. And I'll just say that, I think for me, the one driving thing in my life has been just trying to figure out ways that we can be able to create more opportunities for those who need the most. And I think that for what really drives me or interests me about the role that we can do at the Division of Minority and Women Business Development is I just think this is a critical time where we could be able to create more opportunities, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Welcome aboard. Take Hope's selection of you as a form of a motion that I will second. Do any board members have any questions for Jason? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None? The motion carries. Officially, congratulations, Sam. Thank you.
Very much.
Okay. Ed Hamilton, is that it, or do you have any other items for us?
Nope, that's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, so then we'll head to Kathleen Mize, our Deputy Chief Financial Officer and Controller, for her report.
Thank you, Chair Law, and good morning, directors. The Public Authorities Law requires annual approval by the corporation's Board of Directors and certifications by the Chief Executive Officer and the Chief Financial Officer of certain financial reports. The reports consist of financial information set forth in the Consolidated Financial Statements and Independent Auditor's Report, March 31, 2023 and 2022, referred to going forward as the audit report, as prepared with the corporation's independent audit firm, EFPR Group, LLP. The audit report for the fiscal year ended March 31, 2023, contains an unmodified, clean opinion reflecting that the consolidated financial statements present fairly, in all material respects, the financial position, results of operations, and cash flows of the corporation and its subsidiaries. In addition, the independent auditor's report on internal control over financial reporting and on compliance addressing whether control deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal control exist, did not identify any deficiencies that would be considered to be material weaknesses. The audit firm was able to obtain reasonable assurance that the corporation's financial statements are free of material misstatement by performing tests of compliance with certain provisions of laws, regulations, contracts, and grant agreements, including the corporation's investment guidelines and other matters. Non-compliance with any of these could have had a direct and material effect on the financial statements. Their testing revealed no instances of non-compliance or other matters that are required to be reported. Included in the materials you've received is the complete audit report for the fiscal year ended March 31, 2023, in comparison to March 31, 2022. The preparation of the audit report included 30% participation by MBE and WBE firms and 6% by an SD VOB firm. The audit report was presented to the Audit and Budget Committee earlier today and was accepted without comment. With us today are Douglas Zimmerman and Brent Jensen, partners at ESD's audit firm, EFPR Group, and we are happy to answer any questions that anyone may have. Thank you.
Okay, well, thanks, Kathleen. I think as board members, three items you mentioned are usually music to board members' ears. One is a clean report, the other is no deficiencies, and the other is no instances of noncompliance. That's what board members like to hear. So that's all good. So no red flags or nothing that board members should be losing sleep over in terms of anything that came up in the audit?
Not at all.
Very good. Any board members have any questions? Michael will move to approve. I will second it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries, and thanks to both Kathleen and the team and our outside consultants. Sorry we don't have questions for you, but I guess staff is doing such a good job here. But no, seriously, thank you for your service. And anything you'd like to add to Kathleen's report?
Not just that we had excellent cooperation from management and certainly appreciate the opportunity to continue working with the corporation.
Terrific. Thank you. All
And
right.
Chair, I'd just like to mention, I'd like to salute the team, thank the auditors. We had unprecedented turnover at a senior level in the accounting department during the audit, and they didn't miss a beat. So
Nice.
really acknowledge and salute the team.
Very good.
regard.
It's great to hear. As I said, you have a solid team, Hope, here. So kudos to the team. And Kathleen, thanks for the report. So that item is approved. Next, we have our spotlight presentation, and we're going to hear from Ashley McCloskey, our VP of Regional Economic Development Councils, and Vinny Esposito, our Senior VP of Regional Economic Development Councils, and who is going to lead. We have both of them on the screen, and who is going to lead us? Vinny?
I'll go first, Kevin, and introduce Ashley to make a short presentation. Thanks for having us. Thanks to the board for an opportunity to talk about the Regional Economic Development Councils, which is now entering in its 13th year of existence. It's a really marquee initiative for the state's economic development efforts, really rooted in the foundation that our state's economy is a series of regional economies, and that by having an appointed group of advisory stakeholders in each region, the state's economic development efforts can be more successful. And that's how that works. Each regional council provides a strategic plan for its region and has direct input to us and other state agencies about how state funding is implemented for those regions. Really, in the last couple of years under Governor Hochul's leadership, we've made some improvements to the regional councils. So we thought it'd be a really good time to come back, remind you of how the initiative works, and talk about some of those improvements. And to do that, I'm going to ask and have our vice president that really oversees the regional councils on a daily basis, Ashley McCluskey, give you the presentation. So Ashley, take it away.
Thank you, Vinny. Good morning, directors. Thank you for having us here today to speak with you about the councils. I'll get right into it, as Vinny said, and give an overview of the council's role and end with an update on what the councils are working on this current round. So just a little background on the councils. In 2011, 10 regional councils were established to develop long-term strategic plans for economic growth for their regions. Under Governor Hochul, the councils remain an important part of the state's economic development efforts and will continue to play a key role in a regionally driven strategy to support economic growth and job creation. The regional councils are guided by the regional strategic economic development plans, which emphasize each region's unique assets and provide strategies to stimulate regional economic development and create jobs. Each council is comprised of volunteers who are local and regional leaders in academia, business, labor, industry, nonprofit organizations, government, and elected official representation. The councils serve in an advisory capacity to the state and make recommendations on projects and outline the goals for the region. In the past 12 rounds of the REDC initiative, over $7.7 billion has been awarded to more than 9,500 projects, of which 4,000 of those are ESD projects. And of these projects, over 86% are active or complete. The chart here shows the regional distribution of those projects, which in total are projected to create and retain over 240,000 jobs statewide. And over $36 billion has been leveraged at an 8-to-1 ratio for this initiative as a whole. And for ESD grants, the leverage ratio is 11-to-1. So the Regional Economic Development Council initiative is a key component of the state's strategy for investment and economic development. However, it is just one tool in the toolbox, and many other initiatives and programs utilize the strategies set forth by the councils. Several other state-related economic development initiatives complement the work of the councils, and a wide variety of funding is coordinated with and driven by the strategic plans created by the REDCs at the ground level to ensure that available funding is being matched with unique sector-driven needs and priorities of each region. Several state initiatives have been created as a result of the council's impact, while other programs have utilized what the regions have outlined as their priorities and strategies to inform program design and awards. Each regional council has become the voice of their region, advising agencies on the programs and projects most valuable to the region. So to advance the region's strategies along with state and regional priorities, ESD capital funding and tax credit incentives, combined with a wide range of existing agency programs, are made available through the REDC initiative each year. Councils play a critical role in the review of applications to identify projects with the greatest impact on advancing state and regional priorities. So the regional council's endorsement accounts for 20% of the total project score, while state agency technical review will account for 80%. And the consolidated funding application, the CFA, is used as a single application portal to support the REDC initiative to streamline economic development resources from over 10 state agencies. The latest round of the REDC initiative, round 13, launched on May 15th this year. And this year, $150 million in ESD capital grant funding will continue to be made available to support economic development projects that align with each region's strategic plan. And these funds are available on a rolling basis, so applicants can apply anytime throughout throughout the year, and will be notified of their awards as they're approved. And since moving to this rolling process over the last 2 years, over 330 projects have been awarded to leverage over $1.1 billion in funding, and 88% of those projects are complete or in progress. So for this round, for the $150 million of ESD capital grant program, we're encouraging the councils to support projects that advance or address strategic state priorities, which include projects that support green building and sustainable development, childcare projects, projects located in severely distressed communities, and innovative public-private partnerships.
Ashley, can I ask you to put a number on things?
Also new for this round, 2 new sub-programs were included in the CFA using ESD capital grant funds, and those include a $5 million craft beverage micro-grant program and a $5 million not-for-profit capital grant program. And the craft program will support licensed producers in making investments in equipment purchases or facility upgrades. And the not-for-profit capital program will be available to not-for-profit organizations whose mission is to provide an economic and community benefit to the area to undertake facility improvements and upgrades. So in addition to the ESD grant funds in 2023, funding is also available from programs across 10 agencies, as outlined here on the screen. Funding from these programs, again, all utilize the CFA, which is designed to give applicants an expedited and streamlined access to a combined pool of grant funds from various programs and agencies. The CFA is currently open with a deadline for applications of July 28th, and the state will make awards from these programs in this fall. And for programs that are reviewed and scored by the REDCs, the councils review projects and provide scores that reflect how well a project aligns with the region's goals and strategies. So in addition to reviewing projects from these various programs, this year the regional councils will review and update their regional strategic plans, which we've talked about quite a bit already. And the update will allow them to reestablish the region's priorities for growth and create an updated roadmap for the region to achieve its vision for the future. The strategic plan will serve as the new 5-year plan for the councils, and it's an update to the original plan that they created back in 2011. So regional coordination and collaboration is really the foundation of the regional council process, and the councils will continue to utilize this as they undertake the development of their new updated plan. And during this planning process, the councils will engage with regional stakeholders and the public to solicit ideas and feedback to really drive the discussion around the goals for the region. This year, a new challenges competition was also launched where the councils will analyze particular challenges to economic growth, and each REDC will select one challenge to focus on from the list you can see here on the screen. These are set by the state, and each council will develop a proposal that outlines creative and innovative solutions to address the challenge that they choose, and they'll submit that proposal as part of their updated strategic plan document later in the year. And based on the solution submitted, this strategic implementation assessment team, which is a team of state agency commissioners who will be reviewing these proposals and selecting 3 regions to receive $10 million in funding to implement their solutions. Lastly, the councils have also played a critical role in recommending the nearly 70 downtown revitalization initiative communities and the 24 New York Forward communities to receive planning assistance and funding for transformative projects to revitalize their downtowns. And the REDCs will again nominate the communities for a 7th round of the DRI and a 2nd round of the New York Forward program. And REDC members continue to serve on the local planning committees for these communities as well. So that concludes my presentation. Thank you again for having us here to discuss the REDC initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Great report. I served as co-chair of the Long Island REDC for 11 rounds, so pretty familiar with it. But definitely, I could see the new twist, which all sound pretty neat and exciting. Question for you: are the REDCs still reviewing applications on a rolling basis, and are decisions being made on a rolling basis, or are we back to one big announcement in the fall?
For the $150 million for the Regional Council Capital Fund, the ESD grants program, those are on a rolling basis. But the various state agency programs, the majority of those stick to the traditional timeframe with applications due in July and then those award announcements in the fall. But for the ESD program, that is continued on a rolling basis this year.
Got it. And with the new plans, also all 10 regions will have a new updated 5-year plan, and monies have been set aside to hire professional consultants to assist them with those plans?
Yes, we are working to get a consultant for each region to assist the councils with the analysis of data, public engagement, and development of the strategic plan, as well as their challenges proposal. So yes, the councils will have outside assistance to help them with this effort.
That sounds like a new, good initiative as well. Yeah? So,
yes.
Got it.
Yes, this is the first time they received that assistance to help with the plan.
So is it fair to say that the state economic development strategic plan is really made up of 10 specific, regional strategic plans.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, Kevin. And they're all informed by the overarching strategy that ESD has had for several years that I know the board and others have been discussing. And then one point I want to make before we close, and that is that obviously the regional offices are the ones that really manage the regional councils. And it's our hope that your future spotlight presentations will start to now focus on the individual regions of the state so you can hear more about their strategic plans and their implementation.
Great. Thanks, Vinny, and thanks, Ashley. Do any other board members have any questions?
I just have a question about the non-for-profit
Sure.
grants.
Oh, very good.
Do the non-for-profits will apply to the Regional Economic Development Council for the grants?
Yes, they will apply through the CFA for the not-for-profit program. That is open currently in the CFA round. So those applications will be due in July as well. But they can go on the Regional Council website and CFA website. There's a full list of all programs that are involved in the process. There's webinars and full program guidelines. So there's much more detailed information on the criteria and the guidelines for that program.
Would that program be on a rolling basis or not, or at one time?
The first batch, the first deadline for the first batch will coincide with the agency program. So the deadline will be July 28th. Since this is a new program, we'll see what the awards look like. And if there's still funding available after that first batch is reviewed, we can open it back up. But since it is a fairly small amount and it is a new program, we've set that deadline, and then we will analyze after that first batch of awards and whether we need to open it back up or not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hearing no other questions, thank you, Vinny, and thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to now continue with our agenda for all the regional project section. So we're going to start with the Finger Lakes region. I'll ask those on the phone who are not about to speak to please keep their phones on mute. First up, we have Allison Argus, Senior Project Manager for Industry Development from the Finger Lakes region. Allison?
Thank you, Chairman Law. Thank you. Good morning, directors. Today we are requesting your approval of a $7.3 million capital grant to the Monroe County Industrial Development Agency, also known as COMIDA. This is a FAST New York grant, and the funding will come from the New York Works Economic Development Fund. This grant will support the planning and design for upgrades and improvements to the electrical infrastructure at 1900 Tibor Road in the town of Webster. So this is the site that will eventually house Fairlife LLC's Northeast Dairy Processing Facility, which anticipates $650 million in investment and the creation of 250 jobs. In addition to this infrastructure improvement supporting Fairlife, it will also be the foundation that's needed to entice other companies to other sites in the area while further driving the economic growth in Webster. To further support this project, COMIDA applied for this FAST New York grant several weeks ago, and they were offered a $20 million award to upgrade the current electrical infrastructure. So this project as a whole is structured around installing transformers that will support a larger electrical load and ultimately extending this enhanced service to the site and the surrounding areas. At this time, we're asking only for $7.3 million in project costs to be authorized for the design and planning portion of this project. And then we're going to come back to the board for approval for the remaining balance of the award once SECRA is completed. So as you know, the Finger Lakes Regional Economic Development Plan focuses on growing and strengthening the agriculture and food production industry. So this project is really going to align nicely and help advance the plan's efforts. So with that, I can take any questions.
Great. Thank you, Allison. A couple of questions. So the overall award will be $20 million, 7.3 now. And where are those funds coming out of? Are they part of the URI program, or are they funded out of some other program for ESD?
Yeah, good question. So this grant is going to be through the Fast New York program, and I believe that funding comes from the New York Works Economic Development Fund.
Got it. And we're preserving 650 jobs, or are they going to be creating new 650 new jobs? I didn't hear you correctly or clearly on that.
Yeah, no problem. So there's going to be, so basically this site where the infrastructure work is going to be done, which is what the grant is being used for. This site is eventually going to house Fairlife, and that project, on a separate note, is going to bring in $650 million in investment and create 250 jobs.
Oh, 650 million.
Yeah, an investment. So the jobs is going to be 250. But for this grant alone, the infrastructure work, there won't be any job creation associated with it.
Got it. No. Significant investment, nice number of jobs. And just finally, why isn't the utility up there or NYPA funding this? And why is ESD funding it?
Yeah, great question. So the utility will be inputting some of the funding for this. They do have a couple grants in it. Ultimately, when the utilities do projects, they put this funding back on the customer. And with the customer being Fairlife and it being a very competitive project for New York State up against Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania was our biggest competitor for this one. But it was extremely competitive, and we felt that we did need to provide more funding than usual to help secure this project. With that being said, Fairlife does have a fair amount of money into the total project cost, and RG&E also has put a generous grant towards it as well.
Got it. Well, thank you for that, Allison. Do any other board members have any other questions? Hearing none, I will move it. Michael seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Thank you for that presentation, Allison. Good luck with the project. That sounds exciting.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, Daniel Kalinsky, our Acting Regional Director for ESD Central New York Region for a project, and I believe Rob?
Chairman Law, I will recuse myself from this item.
All right, let the record reflect Rob Simpson's recusal on this item. Daniel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today, the directors are being asked to approve a Round 9 Regional Council Capital Fund grant of $1 million to be used as a portion of the non-residential cost to purchase and develop 150,000 square feet of buildings in Syracuse into commercial Class A office and retail space, as well as market rate loft apartments. FS Development Associates LLC is a privately owned company that was formed for the sole purpose of acquiring, rehabilitating, and operating the Merrill Soul building at 600 North Franklin Street and the Amphion building at 156 Solar and West Division Streets in Syracuse, New York. In July 2019, the company applied for funding through Round 9 of the Central New York Regional Economic Development Council, for which funding was recommended and approved. The total budget for this project is $27 million for purchase, construction, and renovation, furniture and fixtures, and site work. ESD participation in the project will be $1 million, which represents 3.7% of the project cost. The project is consistent with the CNY Regional Council's strategy to revitalize its urban cores, with the goal to drive the adaptive reuse of the region's aging building stock and vacant properties. I welcome any questions for this project.
Any questions for Daniel? Hearing none, I will move it. Hilda seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Rob Simpson's abstention recusal. Okay, Mohawk Valley Region. Thank you, Daniel. Mohawk Valley, we have Allison Madmoon, our Regional Director from that area. Allison?
Good morning, Chairman, and good morning, Directors.
The directors are being asked to approve a Round 9 Regional Council capital grant of $2.5 million to be used as a portion of the cost to expand Feldmeyer Equipment, Inc.'s existing Little Falls facility. Feldmeyer Equipment was founded in 1952 when Robert Feldmeyer developed the world's first triple tube heat exchanger. From this advancement grew an inspiration for the company to expand into a variety of industries. Feldmeyer Equipment is known today for its high-quality stainless steel processing equipment in pharmaceutical, biotech, cosmetic, brewing, food, dairy, and beverage processing industries. In 2019, Feldmeyer sought an ESD grant for assistance in the construction of an 89,250 square foot expansion of their existing facility, which includes 5,250 square feet of space for new proprietary equipment and the purchase of manufacturing equipment. The total budget for this project is $17.2 million for construction and equipment. ESD's participation in the project is 15% of project costs, or $2.5 million. The project is consistent with the MVRADC's strategic focus on growing and expanding advanced manufacturing in the Mohawk Valley region. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Okay, any questions for Allison? Hearing none. Hope moves it. Benson seconds. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you, Allison. Let's move to the Capital Region. We have Mike Evoli, the Regional Director for ESD's Capital Region.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning. Today, I am requesting the directors approve a $428,000 capital grant to the Social Enterprise and Training Center, also known as the SEAT Center, for a portion of the costs associated with the construction and renovation of a blighted industrial building in downtown Schenectady. They transformed it into a new state-of-the-art training and education center. The project was a DRI, Downtown Revitalization Initiative, Round 4 project with a total project cost of $1.297 million. The SEAT Center, a nonprofit headquartered in Schenectady, helps connect young people to meaningful work through an array of training programs and career guidance services. Founded in 2015 to assist young people attain GEDs and gain job experience, one of the primary goals of the SEAT Center is to invest in underserved communities within the Schenectady metro area to help really rebuild communities. In May of 2021, the City of Schenectady was awarded a $10 million Downtown Revitalization Initiative Round 4 funding application to support the restoration and development of blighted areas in downtown Schenectady. The project, located at 120 South Church Street, within the DRI, sought ESD funding through the DRI due to the complexity involved in restoring and repurposing the former industrial site. The renovations included the addition of a large multi-use space located at the center of the building, as well as several mid-sized classrooms. The project also included the facade and exterior improvements. The facade was transformed from a very stark gray brick building into transformed it into a facade that communicated a progressive and modern look, and to match the vibrancy that has been taking place within the neighborhood. Also, extensive streetscape work, parking lot improvements, and landscaping were completed. In addition, administrative offices were also added to serve students and advising needs. The project is consistent with the Capital Region Economic Development Council's strategy for Metro, building vibrant cities for businesses and families, and CORE, strengthening our communities at their core, and of course, our talent strategy aimed at creating the workforce of tomorrow. Happy to answer any questions.
Good. Michael, how's Schenectady doing? It's been several years since I've been up there. When I chaired the casino location board, we selected Schenectady for one of the upstate casinos, and I know the people there were excited about it. Are things on the upswing there in Schenectady?
Absolutely, Chairman. The casino site located at Mohawk Harbor is something that ESD has been involved in prior to the casino siting with Restore New York money, as well as CFAs. It's really made a big difference. The former locomotive manufacturing facility that I mentioned this recently in a presentation was vacated and closed the year I was born, and sat vacant for well over 40 years. It's been transformed into close to $500 million worth of new development, including the casino, private offices, mixed-use residential, waterfront commercial, marina, public use space. So just a great transformation. And the casino's doing well. It's producing what it expected for the community, and that has also transformed into this downtown area. So the downtown has really been revitalized, and we've also been very helpful along the way with both Restore New York and CFAs, but the DRI really put it over the edge. It's been one of our better performing DRI communities.
Excellent. Great to hear that. Thank you, Michael. I will move this. Rob seconds it. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you, Michael. We'll move over to the southern tier, and we'll have our regional director, Omar Sandus, make a presentation.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning, directors. This is a request to approve a capital grant through the City of Hornell Downtown Revitalization Initiative. The capital grant will support renovations and exterior improvements to an underutilized commercial building that has now been converted into office space for commercial lending and financial investment departments for Maple City Savings, a small federally chartered savings bank located in one of the main commercial corridors of the city's DRI target area. Maple City Savings serves the surrounding areas of both Steuben and Allegheny counties and have 3 locations within the city of Hornell. Portions of the cost supported by ESD include a new roof, facade improvements, HVAC system, and 9,547 square feet of renovated office space that includes conference rooms, IT room, and an office break room. Due to unforeseen decreases in the original budget, the total project cost came to $1,152,102. The total amount of funding awarded to the project was $442,407, roughly 30% of the total project cost, with a completion date of March 2023. The proposed DRI project aligns with the City of Hornell's placemaking initiatives that aim to enhance the city's gateways and commercial corridors, support increased business investment in the downtown, and promote adaptive reuse of underutilized commercial spaces. At this time, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Yeah. Hey, Omar, refresh my recollection. With the DRI, those projects or the program is run through DOS, Department of State, but the funds are facilitated through ESD?
Yes, portions of those funds are administered by Empire State Development. We share that responsibility with Homes and Community Renewal, as well as DOS. So 3 agencies work to support that initiative.
So it depends upon the project that is being funded will dictate whether or not ESD is the agency responsible.
Exactly. We usually take on any commercial investment that's part of that target area.
Got it.
For the DRI.
All right. Well, thank you for that. Any questions for Omar? All right. I will move it. Michael seconds it. All in favor? Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Let's move on to the Mid-Hudson region. We got 2 items. We need 2 separate votes, and we have Tom Scaglione, our regional director, to walk us through these 2 items.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, directors. The directors are requested to approve a $300,000 regional council capital grant for round 6 for Fishkill Farms Capital RC6 project in the town of Fishkill in Dutchess County. Fishkill Farms has invested $1,988,357 to expand their orchards and construct a craft cider facility, tasting room, and event space on their property. The expansion and construction project has greatly increased the scope of services Fishkill Farms is able to offer to their 60,000 annual visitors. The project has resulted in the creation of 16 new FTEs while retaining 25 FTEs. The project involved the construction of 10,000 square feet of new addition to the farm site. Farm's expansion included converting an existing retail building as well as a 2,400 square foot vacant apple cooler into a cider production facility. The project aligns with the MHRADC's play strategy by expanding and supporting the agritourism industry in the region and furthers the food and beverage manufacturing supply chain, which is one of our priority industry clusters. And the MHRADC's work strategy is also met by the project creating the 16 new FTEs. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Glad to see we continue to help our craft cider and craft brews throughout the state. It's great to hear. Any questions from the board members? Nope. So hearing none, I will move it. Hilda seconds it. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Tom, continue with item number 2.
Thank you very much. So the second item, the directors are being asked to approve a regional council capital grant of $500,000 from Round 7 to the City of New Rochelle Green Parking Garage Capital Project in Westchester County for New Rochelle. The organization completed its work on site in 2023 and is requesting disbursement of the grant. In July 2017, the City of New Rochelle, in partnership with WBLM 25 Maple OZ Owner LLC, applied to construct a new green parking garage facility within a new mixed-use development, dedicating 200 parking spaces for municipal parking, car-sharing electric vehicle charging stations, as well as a passenger drop-off pickup area, and including on-street bike storage at the Maple Avenue location. The total project cost was $9,610,000. And the Green Parking Garage implemented the planning efforts of the city's award-winning Downtown Overlay Zone, or DOZ plan, which was awarded the New York Metro chapter of APA's 2015 award. And the project is a vital extension of the adopted DOZ and will provide people the opportunity to conduct business, explore cultural and historic attractions, taste cultural flavors of the city, and connect to another form of nearby public transportation via the Beeline bus service or Metro North Railroad. And the project supports new developments that are underway in New Rochelle, which is booming, and the resulting future mixed-use developments. And of course, this project aligns with our MHRADC's LIVE strategy. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Tom, 2 questions. If I heard you correctly, 200 of the spaces will be designated for the community? And
That's correct, yep.
So how big is the overall parking garage?
It's over 400 spaces.
Okay, over 400. And so some of it will be used for the project and some of it will be open to the community?
That's correct.
Got it. And what do you mean by green parking structure? What have they done with the parking structure to make it green?
So again, incorporating the electric vehicle charging stations, incorporating other sustainable, construction techniques, as well as incorporating solar, and again, being in compliance towards the CLCPA goals.
Got it. Thank you. Okay. So I will move that. Rob seconds it. Any comments or questions for Tom? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you, Tom. Let's move over to Joe Tazewell, who we have here live from ESD with us here today. Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning. The directors are requested to approve a $584,261 grant to Sure We Can, which is a nonprofit organization that provides support to low-income New Yorkers through the operation of a beverage container recycling and redemption center in East Williamsburg, Brooklyn. The grant will assist Sure We Can with its acquisition of a property located at 219 McKibben Street, where its operation is currently based. The project was designated as a priority by the New York City Regional Council and REDC Round 11, as it is in alignment with the Council's opportunity agenda. Sure We Can operates New York City's sole nonprofit community-based recycling center in East Williamsburg, a neighborhood where it is estimated that approximately 15% of the population lives below the poverty level and nearly 23% are foreign-born. The organization was founded in 2007 by a group of marginalized and low-income New Yorkers that earn their livelihoods from collecting bottles and cans from recycling. The organization works with over 900 individuals who call themselves canners to collect and sort more than 12 million discarded bottles and cans annually, diverting them from New York City's waste stream and sending them back to manufacturers for recycling. The generated income, nearly $800,000 annually, is then dispersed among participants. Sure We Can also assists with community development, outreach programming, and sustainability-focused activities such as community gardening, and upcycling. The organization approached ESD in the fall of 2021 for assistance in purchasing the 14,000 square foot lot where it operates the recycling center. At the time, its lease had expired and the property owner had offered them the option to purchase the lot or face eviction. ESD offered Sure We Can this grant in October 2022. The project cost totals approximately $2.9 million, including the $2.6 million acquisition of the site. The organization will contribute cash equity of approximately $405,000. As a result of the project, Sure We Can will be able to establish a permanent headquarters and continue to provide economic support to 900 individuals through its container redemption program. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you, Joe. Any questions for Joe? Hearing none. Hilda will move it. Benson seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you, Joe. Next up, Long Island. Carol Longworth, a regional director from the Long Island region, is with us today.
Good morning, Chairman, and good morning, directors. I have 3 projects for you today, and I think they're a great representation of how the Regional Council, by recommending projects, implements the state priorities as well as the regional priorities. I have 1 project in placemaking, 1 project in childcare, and 1 project in innovation. The first up is Riverhead. We're asking the directors to approve a Regional Council grant of up to $800,000 for the town of Riverhead to pay for a portion of the cost of the creation of a new riverfront town square, which included the acquisition, demolition, and construction, which of course is located in Riverhead, Suffolk County. This project is complete, and the total project cost was $6.3 million. This was a round 9 priority project for the Regional Council as it fosters placemaking, removes blight, and encourages downtown revitalization. The town of Riverhead downtown Riverhead is actually a waterfront community, but you would have never known it prior to this project. The main street actually runs parallel to the Peconic River, but before this project, the Peconic River was completely blocked by tall buildings. So, and I know you have pictures in your book that you can see what a transformation this was. Riverhead has been working on its revitalization for many years, and one of the key points for the revitalization was to create a town square for a place to gather, but also a place that would open the vista from the downtown to the waterfront. The goal was to create the park where the residents could gather, children could play on the playground, and new businesses would be attracted to develop and open in that area. This project included the acquisition and demolition of 2 blighted properties. They purchased these 3 commercial buildings and demolished 2 of them to create this town square. The project will expand the open space along the Peconic River and the new riverfront park that connects the downtown to the river. This project is complete, as I said, this phase 1. Riverhead actually also received the downtown revitalization grant last year, and some of those projects that were funded out of that will enhance this park even more and create Suffolk Theater, which is right across the street from this and looks right now into the riverfront. There's a big expansion of that project. So Riverhead's really doing some great stuff, and this is really the key to their revitalization. So we're happy to support this project. The project is complete and ready for disbursement. I'm happy to answer any questions on that project.
Thank you, Kara. Any questions for Kara? Hearing none, I will move it. Michael seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. The next item for Stony Brook, I will recuse myself on. I chair the Stony Brook University Council. Kara?
I think I have Bridgehampton first on the list, Kevin.
Why don't you
Okay.
Just do the Stony Brook.
I'll do Stony Brook? Okay. Sure. Okay.
Thanks.
Stony Brook is a great innovation project. We're asking the directors to approve a grant of up to $270,000 to the Research Foundation for the State University of New York on behalf of Stony Brook University. And this is to pay for the portion of the construction of new labs for a new Institute of Electrochemically Stored Energy. This was a round 9 priority project for the Regional Council because it prioritized investments in our educational institutions to foster innovation and entrepreneurship. This project was also prioritized because it supports research into clean energy. This new Institute of Electrochemically Stored Energy was founded by Stony Brook and Brookhaven National Lab renowned researcher Esther Takaguchi and Kenneth Takaguchi and Amy Marshalik, which they hold many patents in energy storage already, and they've brought in over $35 million in other funding to support these projects here. This project was complete. It was for a total project cost of just over $1.5 million. These new labs that are located within Stony Brook's Research Park in the Advanced Energy and Research and Technology Center will support innovation into energy storage and for technology companies and provide cutting-edge research and educational opportunities for Stony Brook students, both graduates and undergraduates. Many of the scientists using this lab hold joint appointments at Stony Brook and Brookhaven National Lab, which is, of course, the federal energy lab located just a few miles away. The full utilization of all the renewable energy sources, wind, geothermal, hydro, and solar, depends on the ability to store the energy, as those sources are often generated on an intermittent basis. This lab will focus on research into that storage, that battery storage. This project is complete and ready for disbursement, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Kara on this? All right. Hope moves it. Hilda seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. And note my recusal. All right, Kara, sorry, go now to the Bridgehampton.
No problem. The final project is Bridgehampton Childcare. I'm asking directors to approve a regional council grant of up to $300,000 to the Bridgehampton Childcare Inc. and Recreational Center to pay for a portion of its construction cost of a new building in Bridgehampton, which is in Suffolk County. This project was completed in September 2022, and the company has expended just under $3.5 million to complete this project. This was around 8 priority projects for the Regional Council as it supports the expansion of child care services in the region. Bridgehampton Child Care Recreational Center was established in 1954 as a not-for-profit organization that provides low-cost child care and educational programming to children K through 12 in the low-income minority areas of Bridgehampton, Suffolk County. It offers low-cost child care, balancing the family's ability to pay with other funding sources as subsidies and scholarships. The organization was limited to serve only 36 children and recognized the need to expand to accommodate their community. With this grant from ESD, they were able to build a 7,800 square foot building. The new building includes 2 flexible classroom spaces, computer lab, tutoring, and art rooms. The expansion tripled the center's capacity for administration, child care, and educational programs, including teen college prep courses. And so they were able to go from 36 to 108 child care slots. This project is complete and ready for disbursement, and I'm also happy to answer any questions on that project.
Great. Thank you, Kara. Any questions for Kara? Hearing none, I will move it. Rob seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you, Kara. We will now move to the Restore New York Communities Capital Grant program with Simone Bethune, our Senior Project Manager and Coordinator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to everyone. Today we're seeking approval of 3 Restore New York items. The first is a Round 4 grant in the amount of $500,000 to the town of Ausable in the North Country region. The project involved rehabilitation of approximately 5,500 square feet of the town's former civic center. Work on the renovations included high-priority safety and code improvements, improved accessibility at the building's front entrance, and rehabilitation of the building's electrical system. Rehabilitation of the center provided leasable space for small businesses, preservation of an historic landmark, and a newly reorganized business and community center for the town. The new building's tenants will include a broadband internet initiative sponsored by the Development Authority of the North Country, the Farmers Market, Gustine Gourmet Mushrooms, and North Country Pizza and Food. The project was completed in November 2021 at a cost of approximately $900,000. The second item is a Round 6 Restore New York grant of $840,000 to the County of Ulster in the Mid-Hudson region. This project, which will take place in Kingston, an historically disadvantaged neighborhood, aligns with Kingston's 2025 comprehensive plan to focus on public-private investment. Ulster County will spearhead the construction and renovation of a 120-year-old former barrel factory into a mixed-use building to create 5,000 square feet of commercial space and 12 affordable apartment units. Once rehabilitated, the new space will serve as a combined live-work space for artists, commercial flex space. Construction will begin in July 2023 and is estimated to be complete in February 2024 at a total project cost of $4.6 million. Finally, we will seek director's approval of a $1.5 million Restore New York Round 6 grant to the City of Kingston in the Mid-Hudson region. The city will work with the Center for Photography at Woodstock to rehabilitate a 40,000 square foot historic building at 25 Dederick Street, which served as the former Van Slyke and Horton cigar factory. Founded in 1977, the Center for Photography is a not-for-profit, artist-centered organization that develops and promotes contemporary photography, artist residencies, workshops, and exhibitions. The project will turn the bottom 2 floors of the building into a photography museum, gallery, and community educational center to be run by Center for Photography at Woodstock. The top 2 floors will be used for commercial activities related to the creative economy. Work on this $2.3 million project will commence in summer 2023 and end in October 2025. And I can take any questions.
Okay, any questions for Simone? Hearing none, I will move it. Michael seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you, Simone. Okay, at the direction of projects. Oh, Simone, you're up again?
Yes.
I was wondering why you were smiling.
So at the direction of grants, refer to those commitments listed in the New York State budget that enhance the state's communities through cultural, educational, research and development, and civic organizations. These projects originate from the governor or the New York State Assembly or Senate, and ESD is named to administer the funding but does not select the recipients of funding. So the first item is a $550,000 local assistance award to the Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation at the direction of New York State Assemblyman Carl Hastie of the 83rd District under fiscal year 2019-2020 of the New York State budget. Funding provided under this grant will support the administrative and operational expenses of Bronx Overall Economic Development and tourism programs, and specifically these funds will allow the Development Corporation to accomplish increase of visibility, marketing and outreach, improving access to loan products for businesses in the Bronx, and improving the promotion of the Bronx as a tourist destination. Funding will be applied to these objectives through December 2023. And the second item is a fiscal year 2018-2019 appropriation of $500,000 to Trillium Health from the Capital Assistance Program for Technology, Infrastructure, and Economic Development. This award was made at the direction of Senator Joe Robach of the 56th District. Trillium Health is located in Rochester and a supportive services community health center that provides comprehensive, integrated, patient-centered primary care and specialty care services since 1985. The grant funds will be used to renovate a currently operational healthcare facility that provides pediatric and women's health care, along with pharmacy services to underserved, vulnerable, and minority populations. The fully renovated clinic will be compliant with Article 28 of the New York State Public Health Law, a benchmark for public health care facilities, and will contribute to improving health outcomes and reduce unnecessary hospitalizations and emergency department visits. This project was completed in July 2019 at a cost of approximately $3.2 million. Thank you.
Thank you, Simone. Any questions for Simone on these two at the direction of? I will move it. Benson seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you, Simone. Now you're off the hook.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to head up, deal with the statewide entrepreneurship assistance centers, and we have Bet Yee, our Senior Director of Entrepreneur Development, to walk us through this item.
I have to recuse.
I'm sorry?
I have to recuse from this.
Okay, let the record reflect, the minutes reflect Hilda's recusal on this item.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, directors. ESD's Entrepreneurship Assistance Centers program is requesting the board to approve a 3-year year 3 of a multiple 3-year grant for $1,764,000 to 24 entrepreneurship assistance centers, or centers henceforth, for contracts of $73,500 each. The EAC encourages the start of new businesses and the continuous development of existing businesses. The aim is to build and strengthen New York's small business entrepreneurial ecosystems with a focus on traditionally underserved local communities by supporting entrepreneurs interested in starting or who recently started a business to grow resilient and viable businesses. Last May of 2022, the directors had approved year 2 of this 3-year grant for $1,396,500 to 22 centers for contracts of $76,695 each. This year's request is comprised of the previous year's 22 centers entering the 3rd year of their 3-year EAC grant designation. 2 new organizations were added through a competitive process to secure centers that had no coverage in central New York and the Mohawk Valley regions. A request for application was released on April 3rd, 2023, to obtain applications from established and qualified organizations. On June 6, 2023, after the scoring matrix was reviewed, 2 of the 3 applicants successfully met the qualifications for a 1-year contract for EAC services that will coincide with the ending of this 3-year cycle. It is expected that the ESD will issue new RFAs next year for the next 3-year grant cycle. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Any questions? No? If not, I will move them. Rob seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bet. Okay, moving along, we have Joan Spivak, our EVP in Life Sciences, for an item.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, directors. We're asking the directors to allocate $6,900,000 in life science funds for grants to 3 startup companies that have been recommended to receive Biodefense Commercialization Fund Round 2 awards. Those companies are ACT Inc., Castlevax, and Tet Medical. The $40 million Biodefense Fund provides grants to startup companies and academic centers to accelerate the development and commercialization of life science innovations that address serious infectious disease threats while creating jobs and encouraging growth across New York's life science industry. The 3 startups being recommended for grants were selected from a pool of 106 applicants. Their projects will leverage additional investment of almost $5 million. A multi-layered review process outlined in the fund guidelines approved by the directors on July 15, 2021, was followed to evaluate applicants and narrow the recipients to the 3 startups presented today and 4 academic centers that will be brought to the board in the future. Each grantee will be working with at least 1 life science industry expert who will oversee their progress, establish milestones, and evaluate whether appropriate progress is being made. We also are asking the directors to allocate $1,450,000 in life science funds for grants to 2 Biodefense Fund Round 1 grantees, Calder Biosciences and Quicksilver Biosciences, who successfully met the stated conditions of their original awards and were invited to apply for additional funding. These applications went through the same rigorous standards for approval as all other biodefense commercialization grants. The total requested amount today for all 5 startups is $8,350,000. Thank you. Happy to answer any questions.
And Joan, did I hear you correctly? The total program for the biodefense is $45 million?
40 million.
40, and so here we're given 8 and change, and so after today, then how much would be left in this program approximately?
Well, we've already given about 14 in the first round. So this
22,
is,
be
yeah.
over
And then
half.
there's going to be a little bit more with the academic grants because they come to the board a little bit later. So we're probably committed more than half at this point, but, so we're going to have at least one more round.
Got it. Good. Thank you. Any other questions for Joan? I will move it. Hilda seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Thank you, Joan. Now, let's move on to Jennifer Teagan for New York Ventures. We have two items, two separate votes, and unlike what Joan just said, told us about, which were grants, Jennifer, these are going to be investments, correct?
Correct.
Jennifer, I'm
Good
sorry.
morning, Director.
Liz, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Jennifer, I'm sorry, was that correct?
Yes, that was.
Okay, the floor is yours.
Great. Good morning, directors. Jennifer Teagan, Managing Director of New York Ventures. I have two investment requests for you this morning. The first is we're requesting authorization to invest up to $1 million in the Safe Note financing round of Mosaic Microsystems. Mosaic is a woman-led Rochester-based company, and the total financing for this round is $3 million, with the balance being provided by private investors. We've made one prior investment in this company that totaled $250,000. Mosaic manufactures thin glass interposers for a variety of applications in the semiconductor industry. Its high-density interposers are unique in that they allow for integration of high-performance computing, RF, and photonics in a single small chip package. There's particular interest among the major U.S. defense contractors in glass because of its stability mechanically at high temperatures, the fact that it's impervious to moisture, and it provides capabilities that current organic redistribution layers with their fan-out packaging materials cannot provide. Mosaic has a strategic sourcing relationship with Corning for its glass, and it offers manufacturing technologies that are capable of handling very thin glass, which is ideal for integration in the high-performance chips for the semiconductor industry. The company is working with a number of customers to demonstrate, pilot, and scale its unique technology into commercial production. And therefore, based on that progress and its continued growth, New York Ventures team and its investment advisory committee recommend we continue to support this company's growth in New York State with an additional investment of up to $1 million. And I'll keep going with the next one unless you want to ask any questions on that one first.
Yeah, Jen, let us see if there are any questions, and then we'll vote on this before you get to the next item. Any questions? Hilda from Rochester, it's a Rochester company, makes the motion, and Benson seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. Jen, the next item.
So my second request is for authorization to invest up to $300,000 in the Safe Note financing round for Who's Your Landlord, or WYL. WYL is a Buffalo and New York City-based minority-founded and led software platform helping renters and landlords to have more transparent relationships and to make better informed and meaningful decisions that increase the quality of the experience and services in the multi-residential housing market. ESD has made prior investments of $500,000 from New York Ventures in January of 2022, and the company was a prior winner of the 43 North Business Plan Accelerator competition, where they were awarded $500,000 in 2019. The platform that WIL has empowers renters to share their housing reviews and feedback, get educated about renter resources and rights, provide data and predictive analytics, and then it also provides data and predictive analytics as a service to the building owners, operators, as well as lenders that enable them to increase engagement with their tenants and improve retention rates, NOI, and the underwriting processes generally for these buildings and projects. WIL is cultivating a marketplace of trust and transparency for home providers and renters, and it's particularly poignant given some of the issues around tenant rights that are front and center these days. In order to fund its activities through the next 6 to 12 months and grow its revenue base, WIL is raising $1 million in state financing We would like to invest and recommend investing up to $300,000 into the investment round. The balance is being provided by private investors, being led by Black Ops Venture Capital. We, as part of our due diligence, our staff and an external investment advisory committee evaluated the business plan and growth prospects of both of these companies, and would like to recommend that we move forward with its approval.
Thank you. Any questions for Jennifer? Hearing none, I will move it. Michael seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. The motion carries. And that's it for New York Ventures. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
We now hand it over to Doug McPherson, AVP for Real Estate and Planning for the Utica Crescent Mixed-Use Project, and which happens to be in Brooklyn, not up in Utica. Is that correct? Yes, just to confuse us a little more. Is Doug with us, or is he on the phone?
Yep, I'm here. Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Good morning, everybody. Today I'll be presenting on the Utica Crescent mixed-use project. This is the fourth time we are bringing Utica Crescent to the directors, and this morning we'll be asking the directors to affirm the second modification to the general project plan, to affirm a determination of no significant effect on the environment, to affirm findings pursuant to Section 10 of the UDC Act, and to authorize ESD staff to take related actions. As you may recall, the Utica Crescent mixed-use project is the redevelopment of a surface parking lot in East Flatbush, owned by One Brooklyn Health, into a new building that would include 322 units of affordable housing, commercial space, community facility space, an ambulatory healthcare facility, and off-street parking spaces. The project will be undertaken by Monadnock Development, which was selected as the designated developer by ESD and HCR through an RFP process that concluded in 2020. As we summarized for the directors in February of this year, the development team recently discovered a restrictive covenant dating back to the 1940s that affects a portion of the site and prohibits the development of multifamily housing on that area. The GPP modification the directors are being asked to affirm today would shift bulk on the site away from the portion that is currently encumbered, while keeping the number of units unchanged and keeping the same amount of retail space, community facility space, medical space, commercial space, and on-street parking. To effectuate the change, the eastern residential tower in the proposed project would rise from 9 permitted stories to 12 stories, matching the height of the building's other tower to the west. These changes are memorialized in updated design guidelines, which are included in your materials, and 2 technical memoranda or tech memos have been prepared that found that there would be no significant adverse effects on the environment as a result of the changes being proposed. 4 months ago, the directors authorized ESD staff to hold a public hearing on the proposed modification and allow members of the public to submit written comments for an additional 30 days after the conclusion of the hearing. During the hearing and the comment period that followed, ESD received comments from 3 individuals in total. 2 commenters were neutral on proposed modifications. A 3rd commenter spoke negatively about the project as a whole in a verbal comment that they later expanded upon in written form. While many of the comments were not germane to the proposed modification, the commenter did take issue with the timing of the public hearing and the timing of ESD's public engagement more generally. In response, ESD provided an additional opportunity for members of the public to hear about the proposed changes, attending a meeting of the local community board's housing committee during the following month, and presenting much of the same information summarized during our official public hearing. An expanded summary of ESD's response to all negative public comments is included in your materials, along with further details in the GPP modification. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Doug. Any questions for Doug? Not hearing any. I will move it. Hope seconds it. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. It brings us to the administrative action items portion of the agenda, where we will be able to act on all 8 items with 1 vote. And we have our Associate Counsel, Kylie Satchel, to walk us through these.
Thank you, Chair Law, and good morning, directors. As a reminder, in order to help streamline our board meetings, we previously implemented an oral summary presentation process in connection with the administrative action section of our agenda. You receive a full set of written descriptive materials for each of these items in your board materials as you have for this meeting, but rather than having individual oral presentations made on each, I will provide a brief summary of the items. At the conclusion of the summary, we will then entertain any comments or questions the directors may have. The administrative action items submitted for your consideration today and for which you have received written materials are summarized as follows. A, mission statement and related performance measures, re-examination of mission statement and related performance measures. At its May 31st, 2023 meeting, the ESD Governance Committee of the Directors reviewed the mission statement and performance measures and decided to consider modifying the mission statement and performance measures at a future meeting, but recommended their annual readoption to the board while they do so. Accordingly, the directors are requested to confirm their reexamination of the mission statement and related performance measures in accordance with the PAL. Next, we have B, fiscal year 2022 to 2023 performance measurement report, acceptance of fiscal year 2022 to 2023 performance measurement report. Pursuant to the Public Authorities Law, ESD must annually create a performance measurement report that is consistent with the authority's mission statement and performance measurements. The performance measures report that is in the board materials summarizes grants and loans that were approved by ESD during fiscal year 2022 to 2023. In total, last fiscal year, ESD approved grants and loans to 300 organizations, totaling $372 million of ESD assistance, which will leverage over $1 billion of additional investment while retaining 6,251 jobs and creating 972 jobs. Next, we have C, Commuter Van Stabilization Grant Program, authorization to enter into a contract for third-party grant administrator services and to take related actions. ESD is requesting authorization to enter into a contract with Dollaride Inc., Dollaride. Dollaride will perform third-party grant administrator services for the Commuter Van Stabilization Program. The program will grant funds to participating commuter vans in New York City for auto insurance subsidies and commuter van safety, technology, and equipment upgrades that will reduce insurance risk for this industry, which provides transportation service to the public and communities that have limited transportation options and serves as alternative to MTA buses. Next, we have D, amendment to contract to provide marketing services, including advertising, digital marketing, experiential marketing, media planning and buying services, authorization to amend an existing contract with Low & Partners Worldwide, Inc., DBA Campbell Ewald, New York, or CE New York, authorization to take related actions. ESD is seeking authorization to extend an existing contract with Low & Partners Worldwide, DBA Campbell Ewald, New York, by 4 months through March 2024 to align with the fiscal year and increase the not to exceed amount from $150 million to $180 million. Since funding is based on fiscal year appropriated budgets and planning, execution cycles are also based on the fiscal year. Ending a contract or switching vendors mid-year would be inefficient and provide a disruption to tourism and business marketing efforts. The increased contract value ensures coverage of forecasted spending based on the appropriated budget between now and end of fiscal year 2023-2024. A competitive RFP process is currently underway to identify a marketing services provider beyond the current contract. Next, we have E, Hudson Valley / Catskills, New York State Welcome Center location at Woodbury Common Freebian Outlet. Approval of fundamental terms of a lease, authorization to negotiate final terms of and enter into a lease, and authorization to take related actions. ESD is also seeking authorization to enter into a new 5-year lease with the Woodbury Commons Shopping Outlet to continue to house the Mid-Hudson, New York State Welcome Center there. Woodbury Commons has been the home to this Welcome Center since its inception 5 years ago, and the original lease is expiring later this summer. This new lease will allow us to continue operations uninterrupted through 2028 at a total cost of $708,883 over the next 5 years. Next, we have F, Central New York Region, New York State Welcome Center, located at Destiny USA Mall. Authorization to sign agreement with Visit Syracuse for operations of the Central New York Welcome Center and authorization to take related actions. We are also seeking authorization to enter into a 4-year contract with Visit Syracuse as manager and operator of the Syracuse New York State Welcome Center. Visit Syracuse has successfully operated this location since its opening over 5 years ago. The current contract with Visit Syracuse is through our marketing services agency, Campbell Ewald. Since the initial opening, Campbell Ewald's role in overseeing marketing executions for the Welcome Centers has been reduced. Therefore, it would be more efficient for ESD to have a direct contractual relationship with Visit Syracuse moving forward. Total operational costs for the next 4 years are a total of $1,148,800.
Hey, Kyle, on those last two, E and F, does ESD, we oversee the welcome centers, and the New York State Thruway Authority, they oversee the rest stops? Is that how it works?
I could refer to Rich Gagliano, who's also on the call.
You know, we had Rich at the corner here, and we were wondering, he didn't say anything on the agenda, but he had a feeling I was going to ask a question. All right, Rich.
These two particular locations are run and operated by ESD. The remainder are a combination of DOT, Thruway, depending on the location. Since they're in mall outlets, they're more, we don't own the property. So these
Got
two
it.
are run and operated by ESD.
So, you know, of all the welcome centers, some are DOT, some are Thruway, and these two are ESD. Got it. Thanks, Rich. All right. All right, Kyle, continue, please.
Yep, no problem. Thank you, Chair. Next, we have G, procurement contract, IT consulting services, authorization to enter into a contract for on-premises secure file transfer, and authorization to take related actions. ESD's IT department is requesting authorization to enter into a 3-year contract totaling $329,404.80 with Axway to provide on-premises secure file transfer migration to Axway Cloud Secure File Transfer. This is a service that is completely different and unique as ESD moves to a cloud subscription model instead of an owned equipment on-premises model. Next, we have H, procurement contract, IT-related services, authorization to enter into a contract amendment with Veriview Incorporated to continue to provide upgrade and installation services, and authorization to take related actions. Also at this time, ESD's IT department is requesting authorization to enter into a contract amendment with Veriview to increase the contract by $97,788 for a total revised contract amount of $287,225.53. Veriview will continue to provide upgrades and installation services to multiple conference rooms at ESD's offices in New York City, Rochester, Buffalo, HCDC, Niagara Falls, Albany, and its regional offices. I will now turn it back to our chair, who will call for any questions or comments you may have on any of these items before calling for a vote. We also have item-related staff on the line today to take any questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. Good job. Any questions for Kyle on any of these items? Hearing none, I will move them. Hilda seconds them. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion carries. That concludes the official agenda for our board meeting. Do any board members have any other items they wish to raise at this point? Hearing none, our next board meeting is on July 20th here in New York City. Wish you all a happy second day of summer and a healthy, happy, and safe summer. And we'll see you in July. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.